You there?
I am.
You're not in the dungeon. You're actually in our kitchen.
I am. No better place to talk nutrients. How's it going
Oh.
downstairs?
It's good. It's all good. So, oh, hold on. It's not good. We'll start in 1 second. So, thank you to the few people that have already joined, and I know more people are going to join. But, Kel, it's the first time. Actually, it's kind of interesting. This is the first time, obviously, that we've been on a live together. It's not like we've been doing lives that long, but it's also the first time that you and I are kind of talking like this about what we started building.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I'm sitting at the dinner table right now, and I feel like it's a normal topic that we would talk about during dinner. So it's probably the right place to do it.
Oh,
Um, are you asking kind of how we got this whole thing started?
well, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's always hard when your coworker happens to be your husband. But we thought, why don't we didn't even talk about this part of it, but do you want to just go back and forth with the questions we were going to ask and go that way?
Yeah, let's do it. And if we kind of get sidetracked, then we get sidetracked. There's no time limit on this, right?
No. Okay, let's start. So let's start with how the heck why did we start Brighter Days? The company, the product, the whole thing.
Well, I don't think we ever set out to start Brighter Days, to be honest. It was just a result of another path, another curiosity. It was probably about 5 years ago, and I remember the timing of it. It was both the girls were in different schools that were 40 minutes apart, and neither drove yet, so we were constantly on the road. You and I both had full-time jobs, and you're volunteering and everything else, and I just wasn't feeling great. And I didn't really know what it was. I couldn't put a finger on it. I don't know if it was just getting old or being a dad or burnout. And then I saw a documentary on longevity, and I wasn't really attracted to the longevity part and kind of biohacking or optimization. But one thing that really set with me was the nutrition factor of it. And they visited a couple different parts of the world where people were on a local seasonal diet and fresh, right? So it kind of made me start thinking about nutrition, the impact nutrition has on the body. Tried a few of those diets, the Okinawan diet, the Mediterranean. I think I did vegan and
You did
vegetarian.
literally everything. We went through a whole situation.
I
Went through
did. It
that.
wasn't fun. It really, and
No.
it was, there was a lot of anxiety with it too. You never knew what you were going to be able to eat. But through that, I kind of realized that we can't get the nutrients that we need by food alone in our society. I mean, I think it's easier in some of the other places they visited. So I started thinking about supplements and kind of exploring that a little bit more. But it was interesting too, because every time I would talk to someone about what I was working on, um, they all kind of agreed. I mean, it was
Yeah.
most of our friends, so they're all in our age group, but they were like, I feel like that too. So um, that's kind of when
Well,
I thought we might be onto something. And I kind of was like, talking to you at dinner one night and said, is this something that we should pursue?
yeah, I mean, but to be honest, I think it's true that people felt the way we felt, but you were really like people need to know this about you because obviously, I mean, most people know, but you went through a crazy and you're going through a crazy cancer experience, but the whole time and even in all the other moments, health moments in your life, like you're very anti-medicine, like you're anti-prescription, you're anti you were anti-supplements, like that's not
Mhm.
who you are. And I was like, when, I mean, just full disclosure, when I had two C-sections, they're like, are you ready for the narcotics? And I'm like, yes, because my parents were doctors and I grew up in a world where, if you had a headache, they handed you Tylenol. If you had sniffles, I mean, the other day I have a cold and my mom's like, are we ordering the antibiotics? And I'm like, Mom, it's a
Well, I
cold,
think they actually have antibiotics in a holster that they walk around the house with. They just throw them around
Yeah.
to everyone.
I mean, during COVID, they were extremely valuable because they're like, we've already
Well,
hoarded all the whatever that medicine was that everyone needed. Like they had it. And so it was useful at times, but you were someone who was like, no, I don't. The minute you could get off of like Tylenol, you were getting off of Tylenol. Like you did not want those things. And so you were focused on nutrition and food.
yeah, I mean, totally. But it's also, I mean, you brought up the cancer thing. Obviously, there was a lot of medicine and procedures and things like that involved. And I think it's not that I was anti, it was always just kind of the last option for me. And that's exactly what happened here, right? I realized I could not get the nutrients that I needed from nutrition, and I had to supplement some way. And this is going to get into a whole other topic, but I'll bring it up anyways. But I had that trust fatigue that so many other people have on supplements. So I was really, um, it took me a long time to really go down that path. And when I did, it wasn't without a lot of studying and
Yeah.
making sure I knew everything I was doing.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, so that was kind of the beginning of Brighter Days. And really, as Kelly said, like we were not looking to start a business for the sake of starting a business. We weren't looking to sell something new. Like that was, and if you know us and you know me, like I never saw myself as an independent business owner or anything like that. And but the truth was, we wanted a solution that could work for real lives, like and real people living real lives, because we did have that trust fatigue. And I personally, because I am kind of an overachiever, like I want everything to be perfect. I wanted to work really hard and have a great career, but I also wanted to be like the perfect, mom and have the best dinners and the best birthday parties. And I was running on all cylinders. And when I was feeling like I needed more, Instagram just made me feel horrible. Like I was like, I can't do any of the things that you think you're telling me I should be doing. And even these crazy diets you were eating, like I remember thinking like, well, that's great when we're home and we have like an hour to make dinner. But when we're traveling, which is every other weekend with competitive
Mhm.
cheer, and we're at, arenas, you're obviously not eating the Okinawan diet, right?
No, I mean, not at the Orleans Hotel in Vegas, that's for sure.
Where they still have vending machines for cigarettes. Yeah.
They do.
So we were like, okay, so we don't need wellness can't just work on the good days. Wellness needs to work every single day. And you can't just be healthy on the days where there's like all the time and all the, moments for perfection. We actually need something that you can do every single day. And, on a side note, I think we were kind of like, we're kind of done feeling bad. Like we're done feeling guilty, like we're not doing enough or we could be doing more and there's a better way to do it. Like let's just come up with something that people can do every single day, like wherever they are, and just check a box and feel like, okay, like our day might start with a set of a to-do list, a set of intentions, but it's going to end with some of those things checked off and a whole bunch of reroutes and different plans. And so like let's make something that's going to actually work regardless of the detours, right?
Yeah, and that you don't have to carve 4 hours out to make sure that you're doing something right for your body at the end of the day, right? I mean, we have different analogies we use, but one of the ones for Brighter Days is it's recovery. It's not recovery from a marathon; it's recovery from a Tuesday, right? Like we don't have to strive to the cold plunge at 5 a.m. all the time. It's just something that we know we're doing a good thing for our body, and it's simple and approachable for everyone.
Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to ask this question. If you don't want this question, we can move to another question. But so
Swipe.
as you went down this road and started doing the research, because I know he's going to give me credit for research, but let's be honest, I didn't do the research. Kelly sits in front of his computer and reads 4 hours a day. He did the research. What did you learn that completely changed your approach?
Yeah, I mean, first I was totally confused, right? Because there's these the new trendy ingredients, or the ashwagandas, the moringas of the world, and then there's these all-in-one powders that had everything in them, and it was just kind of like, well, which one do we do? Which one is the right path to go down? And the more we looked at it, or I looked at it, a lot of these were chasing either individual symptoms or they were chasing the here, take everything approach. And when we thought about it a little bit more, we realized that the body works as a system, right? I mean, it's like a team, the heart, the lungs, the blood, the brain, all of that together. And in order to feed that system the nutrients it needs, we had to start formulating more as a system and not just a list of ingredients. It's almost like, if you go to the grocery store and you just throw a lot of things in your cart that you think look good, and then you get home and you're like, well, what do I make? As opposed to having a recipe and going out and knowing how all of those ingredients work together.
Yeah, and so we stopped thinking about individual ingredient. It wasn't about like a hero ingredient or
Right.
something magical or even just, hey, like magnesium is really important, so this is going to be a magnesium story or anything like that. And it wasn't even like it's a brain story. It was, um, how do we look at the root causes of things, right? I think that was kind of a big deal. I'm just going to jump to this part of it, but
Yeah.
the brain actually was a big focus. I mean, it's not necessarily what we talk about, nowadays, and it's not really what people think about. And honestly, when people talk about brain health supplements, they
Cognitive,
don't
right?
really resonate with me as a consumer. I never thought I needed a brain health supplement. I mean, I have issues, but like I never thought that that was something I needed to add. But we've in our research, in your research, ours, but yours research, um, brain became a big part of it. And so just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when you started looking at the system, there's always something at the middle or the center of the system, right? And for the body, that's the brain. I mean, it basically is the decision maker for what happens in the body. I mean, it takes signals from other parts of the body. I mean, people talk about the gut-brain axis and all that. But one thing that really sat with me in one of the books I was reading was it said that the brain weighs about 2% of your body weight, but it consumes 20% of the energy or the nutrients that you take each day or you eat every day. So if one organ is taking 1/5 of the nutrients that you have, then that's the most energy dense organ in the body. So it just made the most sense to me to try to find the nutrients to feed the center and the user of that energy. Um, but then it turned out that it was really interesting because once you start feeding the brain, everything else kind of comes along after it because it's all part of that same system, right? It's almost like, if the train's pulling hard, all the other cars are coming behind it.
Right. And it was, I mean, that was the part I think, at least for us, I mean, we're nerding out here a little bit, but that was a little bit of like the aha moment of, the brain really is, I mean, and this, like we all know this, but we don't connect what we know to how we feel, right? So, when we have a digestive issue, the first thought is, oh, I have to take a fiber product or a probiotic, or we have a headache and we're like, oh, I need to do this, or I can't sleep at night. I need to take melatonin. Like, we're all trying to solve these individual symptoms that individual parts of our body are like flagging for us, right? But at the end of the day, what the research showed was something that we know academically, we just didn't connect them, which is that the brain is the quarterback to the entire body. So it's not playing every role, it doesn't do everything, but it is the thing that is sending the signals to the rest of the body saying it's time for you to function this way, it's time for you to handle this that way. And if it's not properly nourished, which, we'll get back to the nutrition, we have learned, and probably a lot of you know this too, but it's just a fact that these days we cannot get the nutrients that our body and brain needs through food alone anymore. And our grandparents, for those of you who lived in this country, but even especially my grandparents who grew up in India, and even you talk about your mom who grew up on a farm in Indiana, like she
Illinois, but
was,
yeah, same reason.
or sorry, Illinois, Southern Illinois, wasn't was able to get those nutrients that we're not able to get through diet alone, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way, I mean, society's changed and it's not, we don't point fingers at all. But, it's like everything got bigger, everything got stronger. We did things for longer shelf life. We did things so they tasted better. It's funny that, the old saying, everything about this is the best thing since sliced bread. Well, sliced bread was one of the first consumer products that actually had all these additives in it because actually when you slice bread, there's more surface area exposed to air and it will mold quicker. And that's just what happened with the industry. And just modern life, right? I mean, we always talk about the demands of modern life, got took off and nutrition didn't keep up with it. And it's just, even if you tried, I mean, you talk about just the way modern farming technique, it's industrial farming now. So there's not the nutrients in the soil, the pollution gets in the soil. I mean, I don't want to get too far down that path because we try to walk on the brighter side of the street. But the reality was that you're right, we couldn't get those nutrients from food alone.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I'm just back to the real life thing. Like, let's be real. I love
Yeah.
to cook. We shop organic. Organic, I unfortunately have learned is a marketing term in most cases, and even if it's organic, doesn't mean it's processed or even good for you. And And that was like a hard pill to swallow because you're just like, come on, I thought that was the answer. That's what
Right.
I've been spending $300 on my groceries for. And now I'm learning that that's not the answer. So you just are constantly being disappointed that you just can't get there. And we're not about that. We're not about like scaring you into this or anything, but we're about like, let's just do one thing. And so anyway, so when we formulated Brighter Days, this was a big part of how and why we formulated, like the ingredient. Let's get to that part because the ingredients we chose and the ingredients we didn't choose, because we don't have a lot of ingredients like you mentioned. And I don't know if you're going to get mad at me for saying this, but I was an AG1 consumer for 15 years. I loved that product, and they boast, I don't even know how many ingredients they're up to now, but like 100 nutrients, and that feels good. Like, yes, I need 100 nutrients in my life, but when you look at Brighter Days, there's 17. So what was the thought process behind why is only 17?
I mean, I just wanted to understand the nutrients that really made a difference. And that came down to clinical research. And so I read a lot of white papers, and the 17 ingredients that we identified that are in Brighter Days were ones that are essential nutrients for daily nutrition and just making you feel better. Right? More isn't necessarily bad, but that's just not where we settled. It's actually sometimes, I'm not saying it's bad, but there are, if when you include more ingredients, oftentimes some of those extra ingredients block the absorption or the efficacy of the ingredients that you really need. So we wanted to get those right ingredients. And then we kind of stumbled upon something that just because it was the right ingredients per se, well, it didn't mean it was the best form or the best exact ingredients. And so I often talk about magnesium. I had been taking a magnesium pill for a while because someone told me to take it, and it was magnesium oxide. And as I got down into the research, magnesium oxide is the cheapest form of magnesium. It's the worst on your stomach and has the lowest absorption of any magnesium. It's actually 4% absorption. So daily allocation that you want is 100 milligrams. I thought I was getting 100 milligrams. My body was only absorbing 4. So what we did is we went out to find the highest level of magnesium, which is magnesium glycinate. Also, the most expensive by a lot of vitamin and supplement companies don't use it. And we found it in a form, amino acid chelate, that absorbs the best in your body. So that's what we did with each of the ingredients. It wasn't just, okay, here's the 17 ingredients, let's throw them into a bag and mix it with the powder, and now you have your formulation. We made sure that every ingredient earned its spot in the bag.
Yeah, and I mean that is so important, and it is hard to kind of explain, but I think it's the reason why when people take it, or in some cases when people stop taking it, they notice a difference, right? Like because absorption, I mean, it's a very technical, complex science concept, but the fact, like, just because you're taking it doesn't mean that your body is using it,
It's
right?
well, to expand on that, just because it says something on the label doesn't mean that that's what gets into your body.
Yeah, which
Um,
is horrifying for those of us. I mean, like we joke about it all the time. I had it, and I still do have a shelf of things in the refrigerator. I did get rid of all of the pills. I had an entire cabinet, right? Like
yeah.
that was my cabinet with all the pills. And every day I would stare at all these pills. And I didn't know that I wasn't really supposed to take all of them at the same time. I just wanted to get it over with. And then we come to learn that actually, if you take them all at the same time, they might not all get in because they're competing for uptake.
Not only competing for uptake, but there's 17 different brands. And so they were formulated for one reason. And they're not looking at, okay, if we add this much magnesium to our pill, is it going to stop the uptake of iron in a completely different manufacturer's pill? So another example I give is I was taking a B vitamin complex, and after a couple months, I looked at the back and it had 248,000% of the daily recommended amount, which isn't necessarily bad for your body. You'll just pass it through, but it could be blocking other nutrients from absorbing or from your body using them. So when you have decisions that are made basically in 17 silos by 17 manufacturers, there's no way to understand how they work together.
Yeah, that is horrifying, but also like enlightening all at the same time. Okay, so we were talking about this the other day, and actually, I don't even know what you're going to say because I don't remember. But we were talking about what we left out and why we left them out. Now, one thing I will say, you know, because we're not like poo-pooing mushrooms and ashwagandha, and we're trying not to be like negative Nellies, but a big filter for getting on the team was extensive clinical research, and
Right.
so that was a big factor that was critical. But there were other factors I think that you considered, and I guess we just talked about uptake, that you didn't want something that was going to compete even if you need it, because the truth, this isn't everything you need. Like, we don't have calcium, we don't have
Right.
protein, like we don't have other things that you're going to need in your life, but we have the things that we know are going to work together and get absorbed into your body at, you know, the best possible rate, you know, of absorption. So what else were you thinking about, and why didn't you include some things?
So there's two categories there. I'll start with the first category. And the first category is all the ones that made it in were ones that kind of created a better ecosystem within your body. And there's other products that, like you said, a few like fiber, we didn't include because we think that fiber is best from natural foods. It's hard to get a supplement that is effective as a real food. The other was probiotics. There's mystery around probiotics, how much of it are still alive by the time it gets in your system. And I
I know,
started,
like these were like 65 billion active culture. It's like, really?
yeah, I mean, also just eat a cup of yogurt, right? Every now and again have some kimchi. But what I continued to read was basically, so when you put probiotics in your body, it's like planting a plant in an arid area, right? So you're putting something good into an area that's not going to grow the plant. So if your gut isn't a good environment for those probiotics and that bacteria, it's not going to be useful. So all the nutrients that we used were to create a better gut environment, and then go out and get those probiotics on your own, and hopefully through real foods. The other category on things we didn't include, and this was tough, we didn't include anything that would enhance or extend shelf life, nothing that would make it taste better or mix better. So you'll see, and we're the first to admit it. It doesn't mix like Kool-Aid. It mixes like a supplement does. So there's going to be some sediment in the bottom because we did not use emulsifiers. Emulsifiers are completely ultra processed, and we didn't want to include them.
Right. So if
Uh,
you take a supplement that you can just pour in water and stir, chances are it has emulsifiers, which is like a negative input to the goodness that you're trying to get out of the product.
Right, and there's exactly the opposite intention of what our product is. And then, a lot of people use natural flavoring. And that's one thing that we always kind of step it back when you see natural flavoring, it's not natural flavoring. And so that was the thing. Either something's essential for the ecosystem of the body, um, or it didn't make it. And if it was ultra processed and it was made just to mix better, to taste better, to smell better, to feel better, didn't make the team.
Okay, but so just to go back to this point, because there may be some people that watch this or the recording that are like, wait, what are you saying? So it tastes like crap? Because it doesn't. I mean, some people do taste the omega-3 aftertaste, and they're able to get past that by, you know, throwing a splash of lemon juice or orange juice or throwing it in a smoothie. I mean, people do get around that. I personally don't taste it, the omega-3, but it has a great taste. I mean, a lot of people love or like don't care about the flavor. It's like a neutral, pleasant experience. It's not a like I take a supplement. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but it's refrigerated, and it is like taking a terrible pill. You know, it's terrible tasting, and this isn't bad tasting. So what did we do to make it taste palatable?
I mean, we remember all those tastings we went through.
Yeah.
I mean, those were tough. Those were some tough days. I mean, honestly, remember before we found Manisha, that one
Yes.
tasted like Pop Rocks meets something terrible, and it tested on the pH level of an antacid too. Afterwards, we found out, but we used a lot of different flavorings, not natural flavorings, actually flavorings derived from fruit themselves. Um, and we used monk fruit as a sweetener. So it was a really fine balance there because monk fruit tastes really sweet in small amounts. And then like you said, the omega-3s have a taste to them. It's honestly, go look at all-in-one supplement. There's no omega-3s in there. There are two reasons for
Or
that. One
taste.
is expensive, and so it gets into the profit margin. And two, taste. So you have to use more monk fruit and more natural flavoring, which, by the way, are also expensive as well. But for us, it was non-negotiable because omega-3 is one of the most essential nutrients that your body can get. And we just don't get it across the board. And it's even worse now, to be honest. I don't want to say worse because we try not to talk negatively about things.
Well, you have to
But
talk negatively a little. I mean, it's
yeah,
okay. No one's going to judge you.
but the thing with omega-3 is that you want your omega-3s and your omega-6s to be balanced. The problem was with ultra-processed foods, they're full of omega-6s, seed oils and all of that. So then you have to take even more omega-3s to get there that are normally found in things like flaxseed or fish, things that people don't eat a ton of. And so we really wanted to bring that balance up. And so we had to kind of work with the flavoring and the sweetener to get to a point where it tastes good. It's funny. We had some feedback early on where people were like, "I like ice pop flavor. Can you make it taste a little bit more like a popsicle?" Um, and it's fine. Everyone likes things different, but that's almost the way that we've been trained as Americans, right? I mean, like, what was there? There was like a Pepper flavored bacon or something
Oh
that
my
came out
God,
the other
I
day.
can't even. Instagram knows what we do, so they send me those things, and it's so upsetting. I can't
Yeah.
even look at those
I
things.
mean, what did Sounds posted something on LinkedIn about beer flavored potato chips or
Yeah, and
something
there
like
was
that?
some
Yeah.
like weird donut flavor. I don't even know. Like
Yeah.
the mashups that happen at the grocery store. Like if you go to a Safeway or Kroger and you
Shouldn't.
see like Oreos like collabing with Doritos or like some crazy mashup, and you're just like, who asked for this? Or who's coming up with these things? But anyway, we're not going to go there. Okay, so we are way over our 15-minute timeline. Before I ask the last question, is there anything else that you want to share just about, why we created this? I mean, we went on and on about kind of how we're different, and Mountain Dew flavored donuts. Yeah, that was the one that my sister found for us, which is like, who?
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you wanted to share, Cal, that we haven't talked about? Otherwise, I'll ask my last question.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing is kind of our approach and who it's for. We talked a little bit about we're not optimizing life, we're just kind of regulating and getting the essential ingredients that you need. Um, but we joke about like we're not targeting the guy doing yoga on a deck overlooking Malibu, right? We're
Or in
targeting
Monaco.
Yeah, exactly. Monaco is a big place for wellness too. We're targeting the mom who's 20 minutes late in the pickup line, picking her kids up from school because she tried to squeeze a workout in between meetings and pickup. We try to be approachable. Our kind of company mantra is um, basically we're not perfect, right? We're unapologetically positive. We walk on the brighter side of the street, and we acknowledge the fact that we're not perfect either, because I think that's kind of how life is. So we've tried to make this product something that's easy. It's super effective. That was the most important thing. And you take it whenever you can take it during the day. Also, if you miss a day, go the next day. It's not like you have like it's something you have to do every single day. Um, and then you know that you've done something good for your body because guess what, there might be a slice of pizza in the conference room during the day, or you might get sidetracked and have to stop for dinner at the drive-through after baseball practice at night. But we're giving you something that you know your body has the nutrients it needs.
Love it. Okay, so on that note, is there anything, I mean, I guess what's ahead for us? I mean, we are, uh, it's kind of a crazy ride that we're on currently, but, what's ahead for Brighter Days?
I mean, I'm excited for all of it. It's, we're really just kind of launching. I know we've been selling for a couple of months now, but I kind of, we tried to go out of the gates slowly to make sure that we didn't make any mistakes. So I think of the rest of the year, you're going to see us a lot. We're doing a big marketing campaign. Want to connect with as many people as possible, and just kind of grow this company also kind of as a community too. We're doing a lot of social and talking about things on Substack, not just how we're building the company, but how we're approaching just life as entrepreneurs, life as parents.
Yeah. And our
And
brand partners,
yeah,
like that was a big part of our business right from the beginning. I mean, I think even day one, before when this product had a different name to it, it hadn't even existed. It was just an idea. We knew we were going to go to market with a trusted community of people um, who we could do this with, because this, again, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about finding all the like-minded people out there and be like, girl, we hear you, or man, we got you back. Like we're here and we are you, you are us. And let's just talk about this and try to get through every single day. So, brand partners were really important to us too.
No, they've been incredible from the start. I mean, they were our first customers and our first adopters, and they have an amazing voice, and they have a community around them that really trusts their decisions. So they'll continue to be super important. I think the other interesting thing is that we talk to a lot of people these days, whether it's people to help with marketing or e-commerce, or setting up on Amazon. Don't want to tell too much about what's coming this year. And the funny thing, they all resonate personally.
Yeah.
They all say like, we've been going through this, or I know someone who felt the same way. And I love this product. And it's almost like we always say we don't have vendors, we have partners, because everyone's like, I'm on board. And it's funny because people want to work with us just because of kind of what we're building. So that's super exciting for
Yeah.
what's to come
And
as well.
I think so. I mean, I think it all keeps you honest and humble, having a group of brand partners, volunteers, people out there that are people that we're even, working with. Um, but like just everything, I think we're just in a correction. You talked about it, like the anti-optimization. I mean, I know I'm sitting here with an iPhone, a Apple Watch and an Aura Ring and a bed that tracks my sleep. I mean, there's so much data coming at me, and on one hand I'm a data junkie, and on the other hand I'm like exhausted. I haven't looked at my Aura Ring app. I'm almost like I'm like in a fight with it right now. Like I don't even want to know what it's going to tell me. And sometimes you just like long for the olden days where life was a little bit simpler, where things don't have to be so complicated or so optimized, and to be part of a community that believes in something that's like believable, not necessarily. I mean, obviously it's not like we don't want to be aspirational, but we want to be aspirational in the sense, I used to always say this, especially in our branding meetings, like I want our aspiration not to be on a $100 million yacht in Monaco. Like kudos to the brands that do that. And by the way, I shop at those brands, but I don't want our brand to be that way. I want our brand to be aspirational to a time or a moment in your life that you've lived. Like
Right.
you've been to that beach, you've walked those trails, like you've had those family moments, and they're great, and that's what you live for, and that's why you're living the life that you're living and running 100 miles an hour and managing, multiple schedules in the family just to get through the day or the week. And just know that you're taking a product back by a team that's been there and is still there, quite frankly, as we enter senior year. And I just registered for the fourth SAT for my senior.
Well,
And
I mean, but that's also the thing too. Is it's like it's everyday nutrition for everyday life, not kind of those moments that the anniversaries and the birthdays or when you climbed the summit and largest summit in your state. It's for everydays. And so I was literally just thinking today, like yesterday, we were running around with our hair on fire. We were trying to schedule Asha to take a SAT in Southern California. Then she wasn't going to be able to make Parents Weekend because some retreat came up. Uma couldn't move in on the time when the movers were coming, and it was like, what is going? And then today, Uma gets early move in. Asha gets her SATs. Uma gets an internship she wants. Like it's truly a roller coaster, and that's what we're here for.
yeah. Okay. Well, love seeing all of you on here. By the way, we had some oldies but goodies. Alice Kim was on, and I see Cassie, who I love from my previous life. So thank you all for joining. This was a long one, so we got to edit this up and cut it up. But so appreciate having.
And speaking of oldies, Coov's on.
I mean, we couldn't get away without you making a joke about Kuv, but Kuv is also a dear friend and a mentor. So keep joining, Kuv. We love you, and love all of you. So thank you, and especially you, Cal. Love you to pieces.
Love you.
Thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. See you upstairs.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.